I did note that, but there were.
I mean, I think we have the dates in October, we just need to,
We need to.
we need to schedule volunteers, and I should have volunteered, I can't remember.
We used to do both first communion and confirmation at 4 o'clock, and I don't know why we stopped. I mean, it was a long mass,
Right.
you know, it was a couple of hours, but I don't know why we stopped. I don't know what was wrong with that, I want to put it in like that.
Could we also consider English liturgical ministers also serving at Spanish first communions as well? That would be helpful.
You'd have to tell me how to say the body of Christ in Spanish, when I have practice.
Very.
Because I don't.
Yeah, and the problem there is, one of the things we need to work on, I mean, do that later, maybe bring it up some other time, but how to recruit volunteers. To think those same people now, that you have a pot big enough might be an issue.
Well, I think that 1 o'clock time in particular is challenging for the Hispanic community, at least because when I reached out to liturgical ministers, I was not, almost none of them were available. So I don't know if that's a consistent issue or not, at least it was for these two.
But the 1 o'clock Sunday mass, that.
Yeah.
That would.
Yeah, Saturday, 1 o'clock Saturday.
Monday they will, the Saturday may be a work day for them, you may wanna look at times, that they may be
Yeah.
a later time in the afternoon, but I don't know how that runs into the Sunday.
All right, we're gonna move on. Thank you. That's good to have in our pipe and be thinking about. May crowning was moved inside this past Sunday. Any feedback on that for anyone who was?
I thought it was really nice. I thought it worked well inside, and it was good because since it was right there, even though Father again had announced it, but I guess as people walking out, they kind of like stopped because it was there and it was raining a lot. So I thought it worked well where it happened. I think more people, I don't know, more people would have been out if it had been out, but I thought that it worked well. That was pretty neat. I thought.
That's our, we've not typically done a parish May crowning. I think this is just third year that we've done that. And so it's been a little bit different under different COVID circumstances. Last year was outside after the 1 o'clock mass. And then tried between the masses this year.
Formation would do it.
All right. The next item, 5 p.m. mass. If you slide a few pages over, you pass the agenda or the minutes, you'll see a little bit of a proposal. When this committee recommended the reinstitution of the 5:30 mass as well as the PPC, it was kind of on a lease of sorts to be through the end of this academic year as an experiment for a youth young adult mass at 5 p.m. We're fast approaching the end of that time frame, so a decision needs to be made about what we will do with that mass. If we'll not have it in the summer, if we're going to bring it back next school year, whatever that might be. So what you have here is kind of a proposal I wrote up based on a meeting I had with Father Ben, Deacon Nick, Kit Donahue, and Beth O'Sullivan, our youth director. We kind of were the group that worked on putting it together initially and initializing it as best we could. And I won't read all that's there, but there's some information. We did get a survey out to 5 p.m. parishioners this past week. We'll do that again this coming week. So more data will be coming in, hopefully, and also to youth and young adult ministries themselves that may or may not be involved in that. So that information might change a little bit. Yes.
I found one on Monday morning.
I got it.
Got it?
Mhm. Entered it in. Numbers typically have averaged around 150 people, with about a third on average being youth and young adults, those being from age 12 to 39, basically. what we found is, most youth and young adults in our parish are attending either Spanish masses or primarily the 11 o'clock mass. And this wasn't as much a draw. We did have some benefits of getting some youth and young adults trained and involved in liturgical ministries for that mass. So that's some of the success, at least with that youth and young adult focus. The data that you see here, I think will bear out as we increase numbers. The biggest reason that people attended was it was the best time for their family. That's 40%. And I think that's a pretty accurate number. Then 30%, they attend when they couldn't go to the regular mass time, so travel, doing other things, couldn't attend mass at their other parishes. 17%, almost 18% liked the contemporary worship music, and 6% attended because the primary reason for attendance was it's a youth young adult mass. And some of that is a little skewed because some people enter multiple things, so it's that gets thrown out a little bit. So the percentages you don't see accounted, that's why they're not there. They're basically not valid answers. So I think we could fairly say that while there is hope that it could be beneficial for youth and young adults, we would recommend this group, not the liturgy committee, but the youth young adult team, would recommend that we continue the mass because we see a need for that time frame for our parishioners, and we see at least a decent interest and need for those who like the contemporary music. So we would recommend that we continue, if possible, the summer, and that's a little bit dependent on priest availability, I think. We'd also would recommend that we maybe rebrand it, calling it a contemporary music mass or praise and worship or something along those lines, to better clarify what it is. And that would be kind of the recommendation that group would have.
Do you have the ability to screen share the,
Oh, Jenna, if you go to, I'll send you a website and there's a whole packets there of everything.
Okay. Also, Adam, if we continue, out of the last 2 months, I've gone to 5 p.m. masses, with my regular 11, and gone to for recruiting and try to understand the 5. And out of the 5, 3 of the times, if Jeff was with me, we were both desperately needed. And had we not been there, I don't know what they were doing with Eucharist ministers. One of the times I had to be the facilitator. And Deacon Nick waits to the last second to give the nod on how many cups to fill up. So my thing is this: 1, I'm responsible for ushers from the 8 and the 11. And I'm supposed to be the 5, but I have tried everything. I've trained 2 youth, not mature enough. One of them, she was just way off running and giggling and said, I don't know if that's going to work real well. Trained another one. That person I think could help, but they can't do money. So anyway, my thing is this: we're not going to have ushers. We don't have enough Eucharist ministers for the 5. Facilitators, 3 of them are there just as a service. That's not their mass either.
Mm-hmm.
They're just helping. I don't know how long you can expect them to continue to do that. But I can't do ushers, so I don't know what your plan is.
Yeah, here's
Like I
what.
said, I showed up and I was facilitator. Okay, I don't know. I was running around trying to get Eucharist ministers, trying to get readers. See, the readers were there, and they were. Thank goodness, they're usually there. Well, that's when you
Joyce
did the
Daly
youth,
has read
John.
right more times than I think everyone else combined at that mass.
What is Beth Sullivan's, what is the purview of her position?
Her purview is not specifically liturgical, so it'd be supportive to a degree. What I would say, and this kind of later in there, if there are, I have kind of 2 caveats. 1, if we continue, it'd be making sure we have enough priestly coverage and that they're aware
Who's
and
doing that?
the priests. this is just a proposal right
I know,
now, so. Secondarily, if we cannot generate enough volunteers, which at the mass, I basically got up and said, we would maybe like to continue this mass. If we're gonna do that, we need people to step up and to be volunteers. I think that's the first step in addressing, first tangible step in addressing the issue you're bringing up. And saying that either we say if we don't have the volunteers that we critically need, particularly wanting to lessen the burden on people who are double dipping, covering the needs in particular, then we just don't have the mass. That's one option. The second option is there's an overall understanding on the behalf of those involved and on the priest involved that this mass may not run as smoothly because we just don't have the people. And that's just the way it's going to be. And we just have to be flexible. Like a daily mass, you don't know what you're going to have. So if the priest needs to step up and serve as the sacristan at mass, that would be something that we might have to. I'm just saying that's an option. I'm not saying we should, or a certain degree of flexibility there if we don't get the requisite volunteers.
So you have a perfect opportunity this Sunday, because you did this survey. And in the survey, you had 8 individuals say that I'd be willing to be an usher. And you had 3 as facilitator, 13 as extraordinary ministers, etc. I think this Sunday you should say, all right, last Sunday at 5 o'clock, we had 8 wanted to be ushers, willing to be an usher. You will be trained following this mass. Just come up, shoot your name,
and Marty will be outside.
you get whatever you get your name, your email, your phone number, train them on how to do it. Well, we were at St. Margaret Mary 2 weeks. It's a the parish in Louisville. And they're having the same issue. After every mass, they were training extraordinary ministers, ushers, and greeters after every mass. Not much of a training, kind of like how to serve, but you've got this information, and these people say, I'm willing. Now, this is what Sunday you say, you're willing, okay, you're gonna meet with Marty at 6 o'clock, and she's gonna teach you how to be an usher.
Now, I had 9 people sign up with me, meeting them after mass. That many, I was excited, I was jumping up and down, I'm like, whoa, I
But
got
did they
it.
show up?
No, I
to be
called you
trained?
like, no, I don't think God's calling me to do that. I thought that was.
Marty is.
I guess I
Marty
see
is.
Jeff pushing you up against the wall, and you were saying anything to get rid of us, but every single one of them, would, chose not to. Or they said, you know what, I don't really want to make a commitment for this mass. Or I wish one of the questions would have been asked. I mean, even if they
Listen.
got these numbers, this is really not a mass made of.
It's gonna take 2 to 3 years to establish the community
It will.
to make this mass work. And that's just a reality,
But how did it
And-
used to work? Everything.
because it was ongoing, you had more people. You had people like Jack,
Jack.
Jack Spring. And of course,
But you only have 32 people that come every Sunday. Out of the 80, 38%, that's the 32 people. that
So
come
take-
every
take the
Sunday.
percentage,
It's a
that's-
Small number.
It's a bit transient, so your pool of regular people is
it's
much.
more transient, you have mass.
My
and-
question, I just, so Adam, on these responses of, how many different people do you think answered, yes for usher, facilitator, EM, altar server, greeter, elected?
And these are
Because you
not,
could- you
these are
could
not
check all
necessarily
that box.
8 new ushers. These are also people that were there. who
So it could have
are
been 13
serving.
people. Check yes for all.
No, there's, I'd say on average, a person marked 1 or 2 things, and then you had a few people that marked like 4. So, but you also had people that are currently serving in some of those roles who also marked, which is okay.
And you're,
So-
you're speaking to the transient population, you're dealing with people who are pulled a lot of different directions. And they don't go to a consistent mass because their kid has a soccer game on Sunday at
Right.
2 o'clock. Or, you know, I mean, like, the reason they're transient is because they've got the young kids. And it's a different expectation.
And then it's also another time, because it used to be 5:30 mass, and now it's 5 o'clock mass. So,
Yeah, that really threw me.
yeah, and it's my daughter's extra half hour, I just can't make it there, you know.
Well, I know one kid that only comes to that mass because he works on Saturday, you know, like.
The weekends.
He's,
Saturday,
yeah,
Sunday,
so-
right,
The
that's my daughter.
Sacristan seems to be true constant. whoever's doing it, that's the truth on that. But Deacon Nick, thank goodness he's there, he does understand, so I will give you that. And, they've had times, as you know, where they cannot do all cups or forget the cups or.
We can do cups on Sunday at 11. 11 o'clock mass, we didn't distribute the precious blood.
Say what?
At 11 o'clock on Sunday, we didn't distribute the precious blood.
Yeah, that's 2 Sundays ago, Stockley, not enough.
Oh, no, was
people
it 2 weeks? It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, not enough people signed up.
And that's what I'm talking about with the flexibility. And if we only have 3 Eucharistic ministers, that's all we have. So I'm,
Yes.
there was some wisdom in the way Father Dan would handle lack of ministers.
Yeah,
Like,
for years.
if there was no lector that came up, we just stopped mass until somebody came up to read.
Somebody at all, that's what he did.
Yeah.
So, or if there was no server, you just sit there and wait until somebody would come bring him the book.
Who's gonna bring the basket?
I know that that's, giving that answer doesn't necessarily take care of everything, but if we adapt an attitude, if we don't have what we want and we feel that we should continue to mass, which is the real question for us right now, should we continue this mass? That's what we're asking you.
Yeah.
Then a certain level of flexibility has to be added. If we feel it's valuable and we can't necessarily get what we feel we need to have regulated for a mass.
Okay, is it financially a good mass?
I don't have the answer to that, and I don't tend to want to get into discussion. I don't tend to want to think that way for
You
this.
don't count it by mass, you just count all the money together. I can tell you. Least amount of money is always in that end.
How about this? How many people on average do we have going to 8 o'clock mass?
That's the second.
After what?
Oh, they're about the same. 8 o'clock and 5 are about the same.
It's the 8 o'clock mass. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock mass is a consistent community.
Yeah.
But 8 o'clock is consistently the same people, you have people, the the 8 o'clock mass is there. It's a community.
Just
You
like
know.
the 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
people.
it's the same people.
It's the same numbers, just a.
Whereas,
10 or
like you
20 or
said-
30 higher.
Whereas like you
150,
said,
180.
the 5 o'clock mass is kind of a transient kind of thing. You don't have the people that are consistently there that you can go, can you do this?
You know, the Youth Center doesn't have their 8 o'clock mass when it's not school year. They'd have 8 o'clock mass on Sunday.
Yeah, I feel in
Norma. Yes, Norma.
I guess I need to sit somewhere else, because nobody can see me. No,
No, we recognize.
Because you're so little.
I could say it's the best way.
Go Norma, you have.
Go, Norma.
Yes.
Yeah.
okay, I was thinking, and I don't come to the 5 o'clock mass, I don't really ever come to any other mass at 11 o'clock, however. I remember, Deacon John, a few months back, maybe in the fall, I can't remember. But he came to every mass and he was begging and asking and telling people that he needed volunteers and volunteers and volunteers. He was bugging so much. I'm sure some people signed up just so that he would stop. So you've been doing that at the 5 o'clock and it doesn't work, well, then have John come.
Well, I had 9 people show and I mean, say they wanted to do it. Our best ammunition, I'm telling you, is Deacon. He
Okay,
has 3 people there that don't even want to be there.
okay, my thing is this. If you are saying there might be a chance that that mass is gonna stop completely if you don't have enough volunteers, if you don't have people to help it, I mean, that won't happen anymore. But people need to know that. I mean, we cannot make that decision here before that is presented to the people who attend that mass and say, hey, listen, it has to be very clear and say, unless we have today and next Sunday, so many volunteers, most likely within a month, we won't be able to have this mass because there are not enough people. And I'm sure that hopefully, if people want to continue having that mass, because that is convenient, that's a time, that's family, whatever it is. Maybe that's going to do it, but I don't see that because, yeah, we could say, yeah, we're masking and somehow it worked for John, and it may work, but I think it has to come to people who are there to say, should we, or maybe, I hadn't thought that was really that needed, or,
See,
if I
I
don't do
would-
it, somebody
But it's
will
a
do
good
it.
time in the summer. I mean, the bad thing about what we're doing right now, summer's gonna be more transient. People
Yeah,
are not
yeah.
gonna wanna make a
Well,
commitment.
and I don't
That's
think
always
people
happening every
realize.
mass,
I don't
every
think-
mass attendance. goes
But
up
your
in the
attendance
summer.
may actually go up in the summer because people's crazy schedules, they fall back.
Our attendance might be our volunteer participation. That's what you were saying, right?
Won't.
Yeah, volunteers, I'm talking. People are not gonna wanna commit as much now, so we put out, hey, you wanna do this, run back and see Marty? Possibly they're not gonna be as excited as they would be if it was end of August and life has started back. Cause I would be the last apt to sign up at this point myself.
As,
Do they-
oh,
Oh, sorry.
another thing is,
Okay.
all right, I'm going for it.
Okay, go ahead.
Another thing is, I don't think people actually realize how much it takes to put a mass on.
I agree with that.
Agreed.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
that they just come, they sit in the pew, they go up, they get their thing and they leave.
Mhm.
And I think that maybe, like she says, if this is the way it is, we need these people to help us
And
with
that's
this.
true at all of the masses. You
Yeah.
know that graph that Jenna has of the sanctuary? If you could do something like that and have it up on the slides and have a pre-mass announcement at all of them, 8 o'clock, 4 o'clock. You all realize it takes 20 volunteers.
Do it right
And
in
you
the
see,
hospital.
you see these green dots and these yellow dots and these blue dots
Yeah.
and explain what they do.
Yeah.
And, we need volunteers.
Do it in the homily, it's liturgy, you gotta explain the liturgy to the people, they don't know it. Homily's the perfect spot to do that. To explain the liturgy is the work of the people, and here's where the people have to be, and what they have to do.
So
Sorry to throw it on your shoulders.
to focus us in,
Please,
Yeah.
Do they know they're volunteering for just 1 week a month?
Yes, and then
Because that
Bye.
can't be too hard.
what I got, okay, not small things, but what I got, I've been there 5 masses, and I've been talking to one person after another, is they do not want to commit, that's why they go to a 5 o'clock mass. They don't want to be a volunteer.
So you have to.
That's why they go to a 5 o'clock mass, they're busy, that's why they're going to 5 o'clock, their weekends are full, whether it's work, whether it's soccer. They go to that, they don't want another, because you have to get there 30 minutes early.
Are you calling them black backsliders?
But it's not really.
I would
your daughter.
think it's just 1 week.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
One week.
all right, gonna focus in the discussion a little bit. So the primary question, we have a recommendation from a group that we continue to mass. What do you say to that recommendation? What caveats do you have? But focusing in on it. Do you think?
Well,
Or no?
if their numbers equal 8 o'clock, I feel like it's a worthy service to them. If priests are number one, you gotta have priests number one, and number two, you need the other bodies to have a mass, but.
We can cover all the masses in Mary Queen as long as we don't have the 10:30 mass with 2 priests.
Which we're not having probably next year.
So you have enough priests to cover everything with that?
If I learn how to preach in Spanish.
You're not gonna have 10.
Probably not.
I say continue with whoever's the leader in that area, whether it's you or you appoint somebody who's going to serve. Because, money was found there one night, the next day. Money was not even packed up because the
So-
facilitator didn't show.
And this is where it comes back to you a little bit. Your ministry leaders, right, for your areas. And this becomes fully a mass under your purview. At this point, if it's no longer you.
I can talk and probably for the rest of them.
Mhm.
I have tried, Father has seen me there. I mean, I've been, just trying and I want to give it up. I mean, I'm so disheartened at 5 o'clock. How long can I continue to go to 5?
Yeah.
I'll go this Sunday to train, but I don't want to go every weekend all summer.
Yeah.
What if we set up a table like we did for the ministry fair? And set up a table. And we just try to,
At 5, they run from that table. Don't go out.
we set it up by the doors.
Well, I think, so what I would say is, I hear that we want to continue to mass. I hear that we're a little reluctant as ministry leaders to shoulder that responsibility, do we want to lay out saying our recommendation is that we want to make sure that we have it fully covered if we're going to continue, or do we want it to kind of be where it's at now?
I think an important thing for us to look at, I know like priest coverage, one of the things we, like we said, priest serving as sacristans. That's all well and good as long as it's one of us three. But if we ever have to get a sub. It's really hard on a visiting priest, because they gotta find somebody who's got keys. They got,
Unless we have a deacon committed for that time. Deacon Nick or
Nick,
Deacon
Nick says
Joe.
he's going to 5 o'clock
Yeah.
now, so that's my match.
Been a lot.
But at
he's
least for the
committed
time,
till the end of May,
Until the end of May.
yeah, when all this.
but at least when the priest, one of us
If we
is not
can,
there,
yeah,
then we need.
I think Jenny's has a great idea.
I loved your idea, of having them come after, and if you wanna build a community, offer some food.
After the
If
5
you
o'clock.
come, we have some snacks available, we would love to just train you a little bit.
Anybody like to
Lights.
bring the snacks, I'll be there to train, and hopefully the snacks are back there. I mean,
The table would do food.
I
Just
think-
Day.
I feel like if you're feeling comfortable, I feel that we can come up with more effective means of getting the maximum number of volunteers we can out of the mass. I think without coming up with specific plans right now, I feel confident that we can spearhead a better effort at that than we have to
Did
this
you like what
point.
Jane said as far as educating them on how many are needed and then
Yeah.
my supplement of,
Yeah.
of graphics?
I feel
And it
very
needs to come
confident
from the pulpit,
that
really.
I feel that we can do that. We don't need to get into the details because that will take a
Yeah.
long time. But I feel that we can do that if that's something you feel comfortable
well,
with.
and just make sure, the only thing that I'm concerned about is the money. If you don't have a for sure facilitator there or an usher or somebody, the money's gonna be left.
That's, yeah, I'm like, that's
So
my
some
main concern is
priests-
just making sure we have one
Money.
solid person to oversee that area, and I think everything else can be pretty flexible.
Is the money.
Well, I didn't
Yeah.
hear anybody saying no, so I guess
I
we're
like
gonna
that.
continue.
Is it Kevin? Is that his name?
Kevin, who does the sound?
Yeah.
Possibly.
And he's there over the weekend.
Can a deacon do that in last case?
Oversee money, of course.
Yeah.
We're good at money.
I don't know, are they trustworthy?
All you need for mass is a priest and bread and wine.
That's right.
There you
And,
go.
yeah, that's all you need for
We
mass.
start smelling steak a lot more coming out of Southland. Steak and
Okay, so am I hearing that we recommend this? We're
Yeah.
concerned about the volunteers. We want to make sure we have an effort, and that's what we're offering to Father Miguel. You decide what you want to do. You can also take it, let me know if you want to take it to PVC or not.
No, I think I didn't hear anybody saying no, opposing it really strong, so we'll continue.
And I'll be there Sunday, okay? So we'll
Thank you.
try again.
Do you want to try to do a
I
training
will.
this Sunday?
I can do
You just
the
get them-
training.
Or do you want to wait?
Me too.
It is Mother's Day.
Well, whoever's.
Oh, it is
You-
Mother's Day.
I'm not saying I think this, I'm just throwing it out there. Like, you brought up, you thought it'd be easier to get volunteers in August.
Oh,
Would it be
definitely.
better,
Yeah.
like, would it be better for us to take the summer off? I'm gone
I
for a ton
know.
of the summer, so it doesn't really affect
It's
me
gonna be
much.
really, really hard.
Would it be better to take the summer off and then like hit it big in August?
I
Is that
think
gonna
would-
take all
I think that
momentum
would
over?
break. I think
Breaks
that would
momentum.
break.
That breaks-
I don't
yeah,
think that's a
that-
good
yeah.
idea. I don't think breaking is a
Well,
good idea.
I'll talk about training. On Sunday, the 21st, 3 p.m., I gotta train lectors. Sunday, the 21st, 3 p.m. So I need the main hall from 3 to 5.
Okay, why
3 to
can't
4.
you
I can
combine
train.
lector? Why cannot the
Why not?
lector also collect through the money?
We're gonna distribute
We'll
those.
talk about it. It might be a good idea. We'll talk about it.
We'll distribute the surveys again this week, make a push. Make them aware of the situation, whether it comes from the pulpit or just otherwise, and then maybe shoot for the next weekend
All right, I'll come to that.
for doing the trainings on the 21st.
And I'll be-
We'll just have training at 5 o'clock, mass will start at 6. We'll all be good.
I
Okay.
like it. There you go.
All right, we're gonna move on. Next, Pentecost, Saturday, May 27th, Pentecost Mass. you'll look, the next, after proposal, you'll see these planning sheets. This is a digital document, that's why it's a little bit small. We use these for the first communion masses. Essentially, on the 27th at 4 o'clock, the bishop will be in attendance, right? The bishop will be presiding over a bilingual or multilingual mass. 4 p.m. for Pentecost.
Do you think the Spanish people will come to make it bilingual Saturday at 4?
I don't know.
I mean, I would question that one.
I think that Bishop John, knowing him and his presiding style, he'll adjust to whatever is there.
Lucia, what do you think?
A las 4 de la tarde el sábado.
Para la misa de
Pentecostés.
Pentecostés y después puede haber la
El festival es.
festival.
Yeah.
Pueden anunciarlo, pero no sé si la gente va a estar como dispuesta a, especialmente el ministerio hispano que vamos a tener la vigilia. No sabemos si está dispuesta a estar desde muy temprano o toda la tarde tenga que hacer toda la vigilia.
It might be way too long because they are responsible, so it might be too much for them.
It also coincides with the young adult sponsoring of an international food festival.
When, that's the same day?
That's the same day, so it's following the 4 o'clock mass.
So all of you are invited to cook and bring something for the parish team.
That's Labor Day week.
I'm still pondering.
Well, they will.
A $10 donation came from my birthday. You gonna buy some stuff too?
No, the $10 donation is just like this to come. Like suggested donate, it's a fundraiser for the youth group.
Yeah, how will the contribution know the bishop's gonna be there?
We'll publicize it.
Yeah. How's the response for this international food festival?
I don't know. I think she's pushing it a lot still, so I'm assuming that means there's still a lot of needs.
There are a lot of needs.
Yeah.
I'm bringing bourbon and bourbon pineapple upside down cake, some chicken.
Nice.
It's Pentecost. Big Pentecost.
I don't have heritage things, but I was thinking about
Spirits.
bringing some.
Church holidays are more important than American holidays.
May 27th. Okay, so here is.
Yeah.
Pending a change of plans, essentially, it would be a regular mass, just as we typically do bilingual masses. So bilingual mass settings, a splitting of the readings with the alternate language projected. If we want to increase the international or the multilingual element, we could have petitions in multiple languages with the English and Spanish projected. So if we have parishioners who speak Tagalog or Swahili,
They go to 4 o'clock mass, do you have any?
this would be a special invitation on our behalf. So there are obviously ways in which this may not work super well, but I think that we could put our best foot forward to try to make it work in solidarity with our youth group's efforts and with the bishop's attendance. So that's where we're at with it. Responses, thoughts to that, Bill? Go ahead.
No, I've already said enough. I don't. It is Memorial Day weekend. And to make it bilingual. The 4 o'clock people, anybody at 4 o'clock speak Spanish?
Yeah, I think
No.
there are some.
Many.
Yeah, there are some.
It's already been, oh yeah, it's already been advertised.
Whether we like it or
That's
not, so that's a done deal.
Yeah, this is a
think it's
special
a good
occasion,
idea.
remembering that the Holy Spirit and Pentecost,
Yeah.
it's just an invitation for anybody who wants to participate of that. And it's just an open invitation. If we have 100 people, that's fine. If we have 300, if we have 50. It's just whoever is willing to share of this gift of the Spirit, I mean, to celebrate the gift of the Spirit that comes in many languages and many, so that's the spirit of
I
it.
like it.
But as anything else, it's the first time, so we'll see how it goes. But we'll appreciate support.
También se puede hacer la invitación porque a lo mejor no todos atienden a la que tienen al ministerio porque hace por ministerio. Y también la pregunta que le hacía, como si la vigilia de Pentecostés se lo va a hacer para la comunidad hispana o si ellos también están involucrados. ¿Cómo se va a hacer?
Lucia is asking if, because that day is the vigil, Pentecost vigil, if this community wants to participate, the Hispanic community is putting on the vigil, ¿qué hora es?
From
8
8
to
to
12.
12.
From 8 to 12.
8 p.m. to 12.
This is kind of along, if you participate in the Guadalupe vigil, this is kind of along those lines, is that we could, if we wanted to, take 30 minutes or an hour as an Anglo community and participate in that Pentecost vigil if we wanted.
Yeah, the idea is that after the food festival, we will, let people know that whoever wishes to come and, join sometime in the vigil. And then at the very beginning, we're gonna have like some prayers and processions and all that, so we could do that bilingual, like for Anglo people. And then we will have 2 presentations, which will be like the main presentations in Spanish. So, but yeah, like at the very beginning from 8 to 8:30.
There will be two presentations in Spanish. What did you call them?
I mean, there are 2 presentations during the vigil, like
Reflections?
reflections,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I personally will commit to being there. I feel, at least from a music ministry perspective, I feel that I'll have a hard time getting many people because they'll have done the 4 o'clock mass. The praise band's playing for 45 minutes at the International Food Festival. I'll try to get as many people, but I don't think I'll get a lot to come.
Adam, what would be your best way as to how many people will have at that mass?
The 4 o'clock mass? Well, we usually have about 300. I think will probably be about 250.
Okay.
It's also Father Miguel's 15th anniversary mass.
Actually,
And it's family to be cooking.
And singing. Bien.
I think with Memorial, 350.
15 years. So it's 250 or 300 or 250 or something.
Somewhere.
Okay, we'll be ready.
15 years.
Any other, is anybody else in here willing to make a commitment as Anglo ministries to participate in the Pentecost vigil from 8 to 9? Because it's just me and if 2 other music ministers I drag, I don't want to overburden the.
The devotions is made up of 5 people, including me, and I think it's a little late in the ballgame for us to try to. May try to attend, but I don't know about it.
And I'm gonna apologize, but we're out of time.
So you said you.
We will.
So,
I'll do Saturday.
taking the representation we're talking about, I'll take it back to the planning group and let them make the decision. And if we have a low numbers, I don't want them to, for us to go to so much work for the bilingual. But I'll do what you guys want to do.
Sure.
So can you maybe do a bilingual handout of like an order of service so that if somebody like me came, I could go, oh, this is what they're doing?
Yeah, you can try to do that. And then I will try to do a special first hour from 8 to 9, bilingual, which it will be about the time you guys want to come in. And yeah, after that, the reflections and all that, they will be presented by some of the groups, so that will be really hard to translate, but yes, I think I have something on it.
Okay.
So back to our bilingual, multilingual mass. Does anybody have people they would recommend or know that are parishioners that speak languages other than English or Spanish that might be willing to offer petitions that we could reach out to?
I know a family, I see a family every Sunday, and I know they are maybe from Brazil, so I'm sure they speak Portuguese.
Kathleen speaks Polish.
Yeah, they're Brazilian.
You know,
Kathleen does speak Polish.
Kathleen speaks Polish.
I bet she would be.
Well,
willing.
Heidi
Um,
speaks
Would you mind reaching out there? See if you'd be willing to do one of them.
There's master.
Gohidi
Will she be able to say master?
I'm not sure what she is. I'm not sure what her nationality is.
Yeah.
But you
What
might
about
ask.
Dr. Wuha? Don't know Samuel?
Do you have any Latin masters who like to reading in Latin?
On Sunday, the lecture on Sunday, mass at the 5, Coleman, his wife is Italian. I don't know if she would do that.
Since,
He lectured at the 5 on Sunday.
since we aren't having a lot of names jump out at the moment, I will send an email out if you can think. And if you know of anyone or can send their contact information, I can do some of that contact work, or if you're willing to.
Steve, as well, Knights of Columbus, his wife's Filipino. Steve.
There is a couple from Kenya that come, well, I don't see them regularly, but every Sunday mass, but if I see them, maybe kind of.
All right, well, anyone who would be willing to reach out, we'll work on doing that. Looking at this form, two things. Can we fill out as much of this as possible for this mass right now, since it will not be in the normal functioning 4 o'clock mass schedule? This is a special bilingual liturgy for us,
Are we doing 4 readings or just 2 readings?
just 2 readings.
Just 2 readings.
Or the facilitators.
Yeah.
I'll be clear.
John Lazar is the sacristan.
Okay,
Chris is the
Rita.
usher. You're the usher, yeah,
Betty.
and Betty Robinson.
So you don't, you will not want, is it Nick to write the intercessions for that mass?
no, yes, he should write them. We'll just need to get them
Is
translated.
Paul the sacristan for that mass?
Or
The
a Bud's
greeter.
greeter, yeah,
Or Mud will be her.
Greeter.
Okay,
since she's the only one I have.
We could put on 3 ushers, so.
We'll put on an extra usher.
So Pam White,
Is Paul the usher for that one?
no, but he could be EM.
I'll send this out, I'll make the digital version of it, and just everyone fills in the information that they have.
Okay.
But we also want to be wider representative if we can too,
Right.
so we,
The gift bearer line, should that be deleted since that's a case by case basis?
no.
I assume we'll have an MC.
I want,
That's his job, assume it'd be a job tomorrow night at Fox Creek. They have confirmation on that.
who's emceeing? Somebody emceeing? Okay,
Think Aaron is?
Oh, could be.
But I assume he'll come to that cost.
okay. So we'll want to fill these out it's just an online form. If anybody has difficulty with it, just send me the information and I'll input it. All right, moving on, Corpus Christi procession. Father Miguel and Jenny and I met to discuss the Corpus Christi procession for the 11 o'clock mass. The Hispanic leadership team will meet to discuss the 1 o'clock. Corpus Christi is on June the 11th. We will have, our recommendation is a procession immediately following the mass.
Which mass?
The 11 a.m. is what we're talking about. We'll go out the front doors of the church and turn left, go down the main driveway, sidewalk, parking lot, back around and back into the church, and then have benediction. We'll expose and we'll have adoration continue until the 1 o'clock mass. Okay.
Back in the church.
Back in the church. So until 1 o'clock, we're also recommending that after the procession, after 1 o'clock mass, that adoration continues with signups until the start of the 5 o'clock mass that evening.
You gonna process after the 1 o'clock?
Yes.
They'll like that.
We also would like to see what you would think, since this ties into the National Eucharistic Revival, the possibility of having adoration following all of the masses that weekend, even though it'd only be for about 15 minutes between the earlier masses. as a sign of Corpus Christi. And to bring greater awareness of the Eucharist to our community as a part of that, revival. Kind of a kickoff of that for us. That would include after the 4 o'clock mass, all the way, if Renovación Charismática is open to it until, their meeting at 7 o'clock that evening.
What would you do between the 9:30 and 11?
We would have adoration.
June 10th.
So how do you repose?
How do you, yeah.
About 5 minutes before mass.
Just like we do on,
Yeah.
And
that's out
in
with the
the
monstrance.
church, not in the chapel, in the
Yeah.
church.
You process out with the monstrance,
Mhm.
and then you put blessed sacrament in the tabernacle.
Mhm.
So that is that Corpus Christi weekend.
So that's our recommendation. What are your thoughts, concerns, considerations? Problematic parts of that?
So from 4 p.m. through all the way to 5.
4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 4 to 7, because there's something, and then after each of the Sunday ones.
All the way until the end of the
1 o'clock mass.
5 o'clock mass.
Oh, the 5
But
o'clock.
the start of the 5 o'clock mass.
So between the 1 o'clock mass and the 5 o'clock mass, is that gonna be continued?
Yes, so
Great.
we would do sign-ups for adoration.
And by signups,
That's very
you're talking about people that would commit to being there,
Mhm.
just like they do for the others.
I don't think that'd be a problem.
That's not gonna be a
I
problem.
think it's gonna be easy.
But it's always good to have some.
Yeah, yeah.
So, just like you did the survey for the 5 p.m., what are your thoughts about having a survey between now and Corpus Christi, which is going to start bringing the Eucharistic revival into people's minds of just maybe a couple of simple questions. Do you believe in the real presence? Why or why not? What could we do to honor and encourage a return to the Eucharist and a return or to start adoration? Try to get a feel for what's the pulse of Mary Queen as it relates to the real presence.
I would think that'd be best in the hands, and we'll get a little more into the revival. We're forming a Eucharistic revival team for the parish. That'd be best placed in their hands.
Okay.
Generally, my opinion on surveys is less is more. The more you do them, the less quality responses you get. So you just have to be careful. So you wait till you really need to do them before you do them, or you do them very targeted.
We go back to Pentecost as a Catholic Center send out any information about that plan sheet, but are you just gonna fill one out and send it in and say this is what we're gonna do?
They're not gonna send a plan sheet. There are no planning sheets, right?
Are we talking
No, no,
about
it's organized since day one.
on the nuns or what it is? What do you-
I think it was one of the best where you said that.
Oh,
Planning sheet.
I'm just saying what's factually true. They're not. So
Based on-
The Catholic Center.
it's not a comment on.
Yeah, no, I know.
There's no one in that position right now. So
When does he start?
Well, you should still ask for a planning sheet.
this is our planning sheet.
We have one.
We have it.
We're doing it.
All right, cool.
My only concern with that is, I think. A lot of our parishioners probably aren't, super familiar with adoration, so little things like. Having people that know, like, you're supposed to kneel when the blessed sacrament's walking by, in the narthex between masses might be good.
We will, that's part of the whole plan of a Eucharistic revival. A lot of catechesis, and we're gonna do it at masses, because if we do it in small groups. doesn't
I was
happen.
saying, like, make sure that there's people there to kneel when blessed sacrament.
That's
comes out,
gonna be
people
part of
do
it, the whole thing, and we're going to begin Corpus Christi, or maybe before. Talking about that, so it's gonna be a whole,
And that's why I suggest in the survey before that, it's like you said, start the conversation so that they understand and that Corpus Christi becomes.
Yeah, instead of a
meaningless.
survey,
Yes,
we'll
thank
just
you.
bring it in the homily. You know, when you do a homily,
Thank you.
it could be put in that homily, maybe.
So I'm not hearing any major concerns for doing it between all the masses.
No, that's wonderful.
That's awesome.
It will take, the leadership that we can provide by example at those liturgies will be invaluable. Because people are not, the majority of people in our parish probably have never attended adoration.
They're gonna need to know when they can leave.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be different, and maybe, and I don't know if we're going to talk about that, but maybe we wanna do it every first weekend. And it's a way to teach people, this is different, this is silence, everybody. Now, we wanna encourage community also, but you have 3 weekends for that. So there's a lot of things coming with the Eucharistic revival that we wanna explore, how do we best approach the Eucharist. And one part of that is, if one weekend of the month, we do adoration, and everybody knows that, and everybody's silence, it's a challenge.
After every mass.
It's a challenge, but we can do it, I guess, as a parish. It's a way of learning about the Eucharist and the importance. And also we have to go the other way, community, but the team is gonna work on that, but that's the idea.
We will need
Well-
servers.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need to compare, but there are donuts once a month. And people know that.
Yeah.
It's only once a month, right?
Yeah.
So why not have the real deal?
You just.
Real donuts?
Yeah.
So I think that this will be a good pilot experience to see how it goes and how people respond to it, and Wayne, how we want to more visibly and practically experience the Eucharist in the coming year with are we okay shifting? No, yeah. I'm gonna skip the baptisms during Sunday masses for now. Yeah, we won't even talk about that this week.
Oh, we should do that.
So speaking about the National Eucharistic Revival, this past year has been the diocesan focus for that. This coming year is the parish focus. So we are working on developing a team. Kara is going to be the point person for our parish for the efforts. It's kind of 3-pronged, liturgical, formational, and I think there's 4 prongs. I forget what the other 2 are, but there are different elements to that. Specifically, we would like to have at least 1 or 2 people, I think, from this committee serve on that team. We definitely want somebody from devotions, Peggy, whether that's you or Jean or someone else. So if you can consider that, is there anybody feeling their heart a little stirred to participate in the planning team?
I wanna search it, but I'm not sure. I wanna search. I mean, I wanna.
You don't want.
So you
Try
want a
and see.
devotion representative on the planning team?
Yes.
I can be there.
Maybe.
I'd like to go.
Norma's on.
No, I said I wanna.
Take
I wanna lead it, she wants to think. I wanna come to a meeting.
Writing your name in pencil.
And you too.
Putting your name in pencil.
Put my name in pencil too.
So yeah. Do you have?
How often are these meetings?
Yeah, that's it. That's what
I'm interested, I'm very interested.
Yeah,
I think this is very important.
I think it's very important. I think it's gonna lead us to maybe at some point bring the tabernacle.
Well, and,
Yeah.
and I feel like that there's other parishioners that are gonna wanna know about the tabernacle, we moved into the sanctuary, and I don't know if you have any.
That's part of the whole thing,
Yeah.
we're just added,
It will be a fairly small team to be efficient, and then that will get sent out we'll be kind of updating this committee from that group about and consulting. So there are recommendations. There's basically a playbook. If you go to the National Eucharistic,
Are these the
website.
4 points that you were trying to quote?
I believe,
Yeah, reinvigorated worship, personal encounters, robust formation, and send missionaries, is that the?
yeah,
Four.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Try
All right.
the Crossroads, it's in there.
Okay.
Crossroads does not have Mary Queen down as having Eucharistic.
No, it doesn't.
No, they sure did.
It does not.
Yeah, I saw that too, that was,
That
was a stud.
thousands of those chips, so people.
Whoever did the.
Have you seen
The
the?
QR code,
The what?
it's got a QR code on the back.
Yeah, they have the QR code, and then they've just been passing them around, and then people go and check on it and then learn more about it. and
Oh,
stuff.
about the revival? Okay. All right, okay, mass times. We're not gonna get into this deeply right now. We are, as we always do, have issues with our mass time. I think the primary concern at the moment is a lack of time for people between, particularly the mostly the 9:30 to 11 mass, secondarily from the 8 to the 9:30. Our masses, I would say probably on average are running about an hour and 5 minutes. That's probably the average.
I'm bringing it up, don't worry.
You can take as long as you want.
So
Take as long as you want.
we just need to just look at this and kind of assess what is the best. Is there a way to get 2 hours between each of the masses? Particularly on Sunday, or do we need to revisit the other mass times in any way? So I mentioned that just for you to think, are there any burning things that you need to say on this topic? You have 1.5 minutes.
Well, I would say that 8 o'clock community is a consistent community. I don't think they would mind moving to 7:30.
Do they mind moving to-
7:30 in Spanish at 9.
Take
Could they go to
11.
Could they go to 7?
Take it
No.
up.
7, 9, 11.
That's too much.
That's too much. 7:30, because that's a small group. They don't stay. 7:30, 9, 11, 1 and 5.
Yeah, I don't
That's 5 minutes.
agree. I mean, I don't know, because there are a lot of, you know, a
I like
little
that.
bit older folks, so I don't know how much, but you're right, they're up early, and a lot of those people are,
They would-
you know, here like
We would
before.
8:15 to 8.
Yes.
Bill,
The question is when. you
one of
do
the
that.
reasons it's set at 8 is there's about 3 to 3.5 months of the year, is it doesn't get light at 7:30. And those are primarily seniors and they want to be able to drive in the daylight.
If they wanted.
Yeah, that could be a.
They can come till 4 o'clock if they do that, but I don't know.
I just know it's a problem between 9:30 and 11.
Well, and maybe
There's no
during
parking
those,
to
maybe
allow.
during those 3 months that they could adjust it when it goes 4 o'clock, if there are safety concerns for themselves.
And we increase my pay 3.3% for the extra.
What if we move to 11 to 11:15 for a start time?
Used to have 11 to 12:30.
I would caution. The best window for Anglo communities for mass times is 9 to 11. And if you go past that or before that, you're gonna lose people. So if we don't have, if we can create time in other ways,
Protestants there though, aren't you?
huh?
I mean, that's Protestant.
Well, there's,
Yeah.
that's at 10:30,
Yeah.
Christ the King, and there's like a, you know, 12 o'clock, so it's really, I mean, then you get into, okay, if I don't make it here, I'll go there. Instead of saying this is.
I don't think you would mess with your biggest mass.
Oh,
Why would you mess with the one?
Leave 11 alone, move 8 to 7:45 or 7:30. And open it up, but you're also, when you do that, you're playing with all the formation stuff and RCIA and Sunday school, that whole.
Being pushed around.
Right.
I'm just saying, consider how that plays out.
Okay, we're gonna let that simmer. We'll come back to it next week, or next month. We'll also come back to baptisms during Sunday masses. As opposed to specialized another time. Collection baskets. Any quick updates or thoughts?
I have a thought. It's a zoo. It's too much distraction to me. I sit at the front and I see all the kids running and people getting up and walking and people coming back. And to me, it's like, okay, where am I? Am I at mass or am I at the grocery store with, you know, I don't know. To me, and particularly, I don't even wanna walk up and do it. I just give it to somebody else. I feel like I'm walking and then somebody, there's somebody's, I don't know. It's, to me, it's too much of a distraction. I don't know what the priests see when they are up
I love
there,
it. I
but-
see the kids coming,
Yeah.
people coming.
Yeah, I love it.
You,
I love
you
it.
have to be active in church. You participate and you giving and receiving.
For giving
It's
and
not just
receiving,
being sitting
participating.
there and waiting for everything.
I tell you, there's a lot of participation because people are coming,
I think
there's a lot of walking,
The
but if
way
you like it,
that
that's
they've
fine.
got it, I mean, I love this coming in, so what we're doing now is. When the usher goes with the basket, we go. Supposed to be, this just started, as soon as Father finishes the prayer, I mean, once he's finished, we're going. And then we want to take the kids at that point right behind us. I was not here this past Sunday, but the Sunday before it worked.
11 to 2. Okay.
Children's better have a mind, it's not just adults walking.
I would, for the ushers, if you can even have your foot moving
Did
put
they
that
not go
basket
that
at
fast?
Amen, or even right before the Amen at the end of the universal prayer, that would be ideal. Because you, in transition is when you can catch people's eyes the most. So if that basket is moving in the transition from, as people are seating, then that becomes the visual recognition that now we're doing the offertory. If it's delayed, people's focus shifts to whatever else, and it's less effective.
Did they, you think they, I was not here this past weekend, did they delay? I moved a week before, as soon as, I mean, I
Yeah.
looked at those kids, I said, let's go, Stephanie, you know.
Yeah.
There were not very many people at 11 o'clock mass this past Sunday. There were very few people, which I thought it was probably because of First Communion
It was the weather.
on Saturdays, but there was not as many. But when there, other masses that have been here, there's a lot of people.
Some of the people are getting the hang of it, but not all of them.
We need a little reminder
So-
for them.
And that the visual triggers, you're gonna have 6 ushers going up now. That was always the visual trigger. And the basket isn't getting it all the people sucked in yet. So we're still gonna need an announcement for some period of time, whether you or the priest do it, I don't know here. I'll do it. Fine.
And then the handicap at ours, they can't go up, so we need somebody to say, can you turn around and, help somebody if they need
Is that
it.
something, is there an usher facilitator available to help with that specifically?
We
That
do
time.
that, but
We
it's not.
tried
but there's
to.
a
Yeah.
bunch.
It's all around the church, so.
But if you'd be good enough to help us on that.
I will try to remember.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
I think, Adam, you see what happens at each mass, you're the best to decide when it's good to announce it. Because we come every 3 times, so we don't know what's going on.
Now, Adam, can we stop counting? Someone said your county. You're right,
I count at the 5 o'clock because I'm counting young adults and youth. So I'm getting
We're
that.
happy to quit.
No, that. Anytime we can get data, not because, like, I can say that I think it's this way and I think it's this way, but if you have actual numbers, then there's a lot of benefit to that if it's not a burden to the usher facilitators.
We're plugged into it.
It's very helpful. And actually, I included the chart because you don't see the benefits of it, but it, for some reason, did not copy out. But I'll try to include those numbers and kind of an average number for the masses, just so you have a better sense of what's actually happening.
Oh, I just thought about something. The kids, really don't mind the kids, they're cute, running up and putting the thing in. Why don't you have the kids pick up the baskets as they're walking along?
I cannot believe I just did all that. Tell Stephanie you want a bunch of 3-year-olds to bring the basket or delete it. Stephanie's already going, look, I gotta get them up the aisle. I am not. gonna
Yeah, I
follow
used
her."
to do the liturgy, they wouldn't know what, if they go back in a different way, then they won't be able to find.
Yeah, I
what
know,
their
they're
parents
good
are,
about
and
Oh,
they
they
look
run
at
it.
their
I did have my granddaughter when she was here the first time we did it, I had her hold one side, she's 6, and we went up, and I agree. I thought that's adorable. Something to do.
Well, we'll plug on as we are. If you have thoughts, and we'll maybe visit one more time. John, very brief safety update,
Okay, you want the shortest version
the
possible?
shortest version possible.
The new
'Cause
keys
we
are
can send it
available.
out. We can send it out if we need to.
The new keys are available. You can pick them up anytime. You can,
That's the.
from Leslie, they're supposed to switch out the tumblers, the lock tumblers, Monday. The schedule for the week of the 15th, week on 15th. So that's scheduled though. That doesn't mean it's done. So don't throw your old key away until you see the new one.
They're gonna collect them.
Yeah, they'll
The
collect.
old.
Don't throw them away.
Yeah, don't throw the
No,
old-
they're
Period.
gonna collect them back.
Press the stuff.
Okay.
Sorry, I would mention security, I thought for a moment about the police person
Mhm.
there for a number
No,
of weeks already. Does anybody have any update on that, or?
What's that?
The security
Oh,
officer.
security.
It's been there, coming
What
for a
about
few
it?
weeks already.
It's gonna
Um,
be there.
Yeah, do you know how long it's gonna be there? or-
We wanna have them for as long as we can, forever, if that's possible. But that's why Miguel's to sit here.
All right.
So you propose that he stays?
Yes. Yeah.
much does it cost?
I think it's 30 an hour.
All right.
One thing to keep in mind, I'm sorry,
No problem.
Saturday morning, 3 days ago, or Friday night late, 3 kids were shot. One of them died. Half a block from St. Elizabeth.
That was behind my best friend's house.
Yeah, so the Huns are at the door.
At the
Yeah,
bike trail.
Have we thought about doing any kind of active shooter practice or
Yes,
anything
yeah,
like that?
yeah,
Are we
yeah.
going to be doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Look on the back of the sheet real quick. Mother's Day is this weekend, or anything special beyond petition and blessing the mothers?
Yes, please.
Bill used to give us remember.
It's in the book of blessings. Blessing from mother.
Yes, there is.
Let's just use that.
Yes, there is, yeah, just use that. Just you can include the, you can refer to that if you want to do it. Or do it at the end of mass.
I'm gonna do it at the end.
Memorial Day, typically on Memorial Day, I believe we've done our mass at 10 a.m. instead of 8:15. Question, do we want? Sometimes for the federal holidays, we've had a 1 p.m. Spanish, sometimes we haven't, so. What's our call for that? And I didn't check the ordo yet for the readings recommended, because it's also the named memorial of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of the Church, that same day. So I'm not sure if we can do Memorial Day readings that day. It's a
Is it memorial?
it's a memorial,
I can't remember.
a named memorial.
What day is that?
27.
28.
28.
Oh, wait, 29.
The
Oh,
29th.
29.
29th.
Do I have mass on the 29th?
Yeah, 10 a.m., right? Isn't that what-
10 a.m.
Yeah,
it
we will do
usually
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Well, I don't know, I'm not gonna be here, I cannot, but it's always been at 10 a.m., right?
Yeah.
The question is, are we gonna have a Spanish mass at 1 p.m. or not?
I have,
I don't think so,
I
because
don't think
it's
so.
no
No.
for.
It doesn't.
I don't think it's ever been a 1 o'clock.
I have the 29th. I don't have anything about, I have Blessed Eugene Day, Madison.
Okay,
Nothing about Mary.
are you,
May 29th.
is that a Monday?
It's a Monday.
Oh,
Blessed Eugene Day, Mazenot.
Yeah, maybe I missed.
I've never heard.
Hey, I'll double check on
The
that.
Blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of the Church.
On what?
29.
Yeah, I think that,
Yeah, it is. Monday, the 29th is.
that might be a
Blessed Virgin
move
Mary,
from
Mother of the
Sunday memorial type of thing. So it may not be on the iMissile because of that, Bill. We'll have to check the ordo.
I have the order.
Okay. Okay, and just including feast days for your reference, so when they occur at daily masses,
that's right.
there's no specific reason for that. We'll save any other questions till later. Well, actually, we can't.
May 29th.
The June-
Virgin Mary, Mother of the Church.
June 14th, June 14th is the Silver Rose of Guadalupe. Is that confirmed, Father?
Yes.
So we are planning on a bilingual mass. What day of the week is that? I forget. That's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
So there'll be a 7 p.m. bilingual mass with the Silver Rose of Guadalupe.
What is that?
It's a Knights of Columbus.
Yeah,
Knights of Columbus pilgrimage.
Oh,
and let's plan on doing desserts after that. We'll just say that's what we're gonna do. All right,
and
Father's Day, same with the blessing of fathers and the petitions. Okay, and that's what we have for those dates. Okay, real quick. Ministry reports. John?
Lector training on the Sunday, the 21st, 3 p.m. You know, you wants to be a lector, yeah, I'll get with you, Adam, about that, you know.
English only, right?
English only. What, I set up Spanish if you wanted to. You know somebody?
I don't, but I thought I could pass it on to.
Norman? John? Okay.
I want to be in on when they, if we do the whole training thing after mass, I want to be in on that.
We're doing it.
For the greeters, after the 5
On May
p.m.
21st.
2 weeks from now, I won't
2
be
weeks
here,
from
but I will send Jeff.
Okay, all right, that, and I have
love
two
that.
greeters.
It's on the same Jeff.
I just emailed him at man's Bible study.
Well, I have a Jeff too, so I love to say, I'm gonna send Jeff.
Thank you.
This Saturday, May 13th, Devotions is doing a group rosary and a small presentation overview about the May 13th, the first apparition, and also the Angel of Peace visit from 1916. And thank you so much to Jennifer, who suggested a pre-mass announcement, and then somebody posted my slide on the Facebook page today, and thank you so much for that extra advertising. And we had 5 likes and 1 share, and I was like, ooh. So I invite everyone to come to that after the 8 o'clock mass on Saturday. Thank you.
Oh, I got it. I don't have anything, so I'm very grateful for learning.
When's the next flower delivery?
I will take care of it.
Right.
I will talk to you. I'll talk to you.
Okay, we'll go back on.
Good.
I have Pentecost to send out a notice on and Corpus Christi procession and adoration.
Mhm. Now the Rose of Guadalupe, we need to figure out who's gonna produce the information for that.
You have the contact with the guy who called us about hosting it?
I guess.
Do you want somebody else to have that?
It'd be nice for someone else to
You
coordinate.
know him, right?
Yeah, but I'll be gone.
You can do the organizational stuff, we'll make sure it's run.
You want me to be Adam, I'm so touched.
You're right.
I'll do this.
You should have like a meeting with the kid, like.
Oh, when I
There's
look
a
at that
baby.
picture.
All right. Going on?
My only thing, the binders that we use for announcements, you can take whatever you want out of it. Just please don't take the announcement for children's liturgy. That's all, thank you.
Okay, yeah.
It's going what?
The announcement for children's liturgy.
That's a permit.
No.
Music stuff's going well. We got men's choir this Sunday at 11 a.m. mass. Should be good. All right.
So the June 11th thing with the adoration, are you anticipating, and I'm just taking notes and stuff, but just maybe having some kind of a timeline that would kind of show the adoration situation?
Yes, yeah, and we'll have a slot.
In
We'll have,
advance of that?
yeah, we'll have good publicity information for that.
For your information, the school mass was moved to Friday. So school mass is not tomorrow, Deacon Bill.
Yes, is the bishop gonna be here Friday?
No,
No bishop at all.
no, and that was the decision Becky and I made because we heard people. Actually, I talked to some of the people who are coming tomorrow to pray at 9, and that's fine. And I trust them, they're not a problem, but the problem is that we got calls from all the dioceses and we don't know in this crazy world that some people go to extremes and we don't wanna put the children in a situation that somebody could just do something crazy.
So there will be tomorrow a prayer service at 9 or something.
Yeah, some people are coming and they are welcome to pray anytime, so they're coming.
But it's not from the whole diocese, it's I receive all.
I don't know who's coming, I mean, we're not, I mean, people come to pray.
9 people come, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, we don't know.
There's no
because
forum.
It went.
There's not a forum.
There's
No,
no
there's never.
The bishop will not be here.
No, just so you know, and then the mass is regular mass, have the mass. So, and that was, we asked the bishop, we wanna, for the sake of the children, we didn't wanna create anything that would get, we don't know, hopefully nothing will happen,
But
but
school mass on Friday.
yeah, so you coming Friday?
Yeah.
Do we
it'll be
make
Friday.
signs tomorrow or anything?
Go away.
What are we protesting tomorrow?
Yeah.
Or protesting, no, people want to talk to.
I see Marty.
So you're the only one.
Why are
who
you
doesn't-
always running for a president?
But she just give me pick it, I'm ready to go.
She's ready to start tonight.
Okay, all right, so what is happening tomorrow at 9? Because people, yesterday I got,
Nothing is happening. Some people want to come and pray and then welcome.
that's it.
Somebody
it.
said the
From
room
all
seating,
parish.
somebody
Anybody
commented
wants
the
to-
room seating was reserved.
Somebody called
Already
and said,
reserved, and they were gonna pray.
That's what I.
okay, come and pray.
All right, anything else, Father Miguel? You wanna say?
No.
Jeff's at the lake.
All right, Deacon Bill, will you close us?
Sure. Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
Lord bless you and keep you. Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Amen. The Lord turn to you and give you peace. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Thank you.
Now, that's.
You're tingling the Methodist in me. That's the United Methodist Youth Blessing.
Is it?
Yeah, all United not all, but
Well,
most United
Lutheran
Methodist.
church too. And it happened. Deuteronomy.
Yeah, let's face it, it's in the New Testament, yeah.
Yeah, we have that too.
All right. Thank you all so much. Please enjoy some wonderful food that Jenny brought.
It's delicious.
I need a prayer leader for the next meeting, which is June 20th. June 20th.
Oh, the next meeting is June 20th?
Oh, Lawrence has already got the food. Is prayer? No. Usually the prayer. Thank you.
I didn't hear it.
Lawrence is doing the food and Bernie's doing the prayer. That format work for you?